#1 at 11. King 5 News starts now.
Good evening. A dangerous storm slams Northern California tonight, a storm that first left its mark here in western Washington.
Heavy rains and high winds just triggered massive mudslides in San Rafael, where high winds sent a huge tree crashing into a San Jose home. King 5's Jim Foreman is monitoring developments from satellite control for us. Jim?
Yeah, watches and warnings posted along the Pacific coast. A flash flood warning right now in Napa. It's a rough night that is far from over. Here's the latest. A powerful storm is pounding the Pacific coast tonight. Storm drains are overflowing, and people are sandbagging their homes as the water keeps rising. The hardest hit area right now, the San Francisco Bay. And where it's not flooding, it's mudslide. This is the scene in San Rafael, California, where people are being evacuated from their homes.
Soil, probably consistency of footing. And the only thing that's keeping it back is this dam right here. Just that little bit of debris right there.
The fear is if that debris goes, so will the hillside, so will the homes below it. Making the situation worse, the rain. It's been relentless. And where the problem isn't the rain or the mud, it is the wind, bringing down this giant tree.
I was sitting right on that chair. And here's where the tree hit the roof there.
The roof is in and the windows out. The house is unlivable at this point, as you can see.
Situation still very dicey as the rain keeps coming down, the winds still blow. You know, there are no serious injuries reported, and that's the one bright spot developing out of this storm tonight. We're live tonight in satellite control. Jim Foreman, King 5 News.
Thank you, Jim. We have not seen the last of the wind and the rain here in western Washington. Don't make your weekend plans until you see Jeff's forecast. That's just ahead.
Friday night turns violent on the Seattle sidewalk. King 5 News first on the scene as medics treat the victim at the intersection of 21st and Madison in the Central District. The man, shot once in the stomach, was then raced to Harborview. Detectives now are piecing together the story, but witnesses say a lone suspect shot the man, then jumped into the passenger seat of a car which sped from the scene.
Tonight, Seattle police are defending an officer who critically hurt a robbery suspect who was carrying a fake gun. Officers opened fire outside the Seattle Bank on Stoneway and 36th Street. Two suspects held up an ATM customer. One was immediately apprehended. The other suspect started to run.
What we were dealing with here was a violent predatory criminal who probably didn't care himself who was his next victim.
Police say the two suspects could be responsible for more than 10 ATM robberies in just the past month.
For the first time tonight, we hear from the youngest victim in the D.C. sniper shootings.
I feel great and am looking forward to picking up my life where I left off. One thing I've learned from all of this is to stay strong, stay healthy, and never give up.
Iron Brown was shot outside his Maryland school on October 7th. Shocking pictures of a bank robbery in Edmonton, Canada. The suspect taking a 21-month-old girl hostage, putting a gun to her head and demanding money. Once the man got his cash, he put the girl down and fled. That young girl's father watched the whole thing happen. The toddler was not injured.
A Puyallup police officer is suspended 2 weeks without pay for roughing up a skateboarder. This home video shows Officer David Temple slamming a teen into a car. Puyallup Police Chief Roger Kuhl said the officer violated several department policies, including unbecoming conduct, attention to duty, and necessary force. Chief Kuhl also said Temple, a good officer, had a bad day. A Tukwila man is in jail tonight in connection with the death of a 3-year-old boy. Police arrested the boyfriend of the child's mother today. An autopsy showed Dimitri Curry died from chest trauma earlier this week. Police said the autopsy and other information surrounding the case led to today's arrest. Police officers are handing out more than just tickets on area roadways tonight.
They've teamed up with the local family to teach a very sobering lesson about drinking and driving.
Officers in Snohomish County are handing out these flyers tonight aimed at preventing drunken driving.
You don't think of holidays as a joyous occasion anymore. You think of more of the pain that's caused by carelessness of people driving when they're drinking.
Christmas 2000, one of the most painful times of Dale Rudzant's life.
It's a real hard thing to be woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning and be told your brother's dead.
Tonight, Rudzant shares his story with officers from 16 Snohomish County agencies. The officers are on a special emphasis patrol in hopes the drunk driving crime is not repeated.
The Snohomish County Pace is doing an emphasis tonight on DUIs.
Okay.
And this is the reason why we're doing it. We're dedicating it to Kenneth Ruzant, who was killed by a drunk driver.
During traffic stops, officers hand out Ken Ruzant's picture and story. A speeding drunk driver passed another vehicle in a no-passing zone and struck Ken Ruzant head-on. Ruzant was driving a Mustang he bought that very day as a gift for his son.
When they see something that has somebody's name on it that's actually died in a crash because of a drunk driver, it personalizes it and it makes them think a little bit more.
The DUI emphasis is part of an event called Night of 1,000 Stars, representing 1,000 police officers statewide working to impact drivers during the holiday season.
I hope they know what happens and that they could learn the pain of what comes about when you take another person's life.
Statistics show that in Snohomish County, 52% of all fatal crashes are DUI related, and that is higher than the state average. In Marysville, Tricia Manning-Smith, King 5 News.
A level 3 sex offender is back behind bars tonight. Police caught Robert Charles Cron in Lake Stevens today. Cron disappeared after registering at a false address in the Granite Falls area. Cron was booked for failing to register as a sex offender. Police are investigating now if he committed any crimes while unregistered.
The sex abuse scandal in the Catholic Church has claimed its most prominent person. Boston's Cardinal Bernard Law has resigned his post and simultaneously asked for forgiveness for protecting priests who molested children for decades. Cardinal Law's reign as head of Boston's Archdiocese ended in this brief meeting with Pope John Paul when the Pope finally accepted his resignation. And the Vatican seemed to gain a new understanding of the current crisis.
People in the Vatican saw it as just an American phenomenon, something that was brought about by a sex-crazed society, things like that. One of the differences is that they've come around to realize that that's not the case.
So ends Cardinal Law's 18 years as head of the Archdiocese with this message. To those who have suffered from my shortcomings and mistakes, I both apologize and from them beg forgiveness. But forgiveness will be difficult for William Oberle, who was molested by a priest at the age of 12. He wants to see punishment now and in the hereafter for Cardinal Law.
St. Peter's got something to say to him when he, reaches the gates, because I'm sure he'll be turned back.
Law is one of 8 church leaders expected to testify next Tuesday before a grand jury. Church files show Law protected accused priests as recently as the late 1990s. Parishioners have protested, and dozens of priests petitioned for a change in Boston's church leadership. And there are 450 alleged victims in the Boston Archdiocese alone who have sued the Catholic Church, not to mention the many more cases nationwide and some cases here in Seattle. The Reverend Thomas Doyle, an advocate for abuse victims, thinks Catholics are only beginning to learn the depth of the wrongdoing.
Potential controversy forces Henry Kissinger to quit a commission investigating the terror attacks in this country. Kissinger resigned before the panel even started its investigation into the events leading up to September 11th. The former Secretary of State cited conflicts of interest with clients of his consulting business.
Trent Lott will not be stepping down as Senate Majority Leader.
I apologize for opening old wounds and hurting many Americans. I'm not about to resign for an accusation that I'm something I'm not.
Lott apologized today for saying the country would have been better if the segregationists won the 1948 presidential election. Sources tell NBC News Lott was forced into today's statement by the White House because earlier apologies were deemed inadequate.
A smoking gun tonight in the West Coast energy crisis.
I don't really want to do something underhanded, but if there's work you can continue to do.
I understand. You don't have to talk anymore.
Okay.
A senator says she has the tapes that prove energy companies were ripping you off. Hear what the tapes say. Also,
I'm Melissa Hahn live at SeaTac Airport. Security screeners give us an inside look of what they're still finding in carry-on bags. Coming up, new information on what is and is not allowed at the airport.
Wishing you a Merry what? Outrage over what one homeowner is doing with Christmas lights.
and if you play the lottery, we will tell you where you may want to buy a ticket to win the big bucks. 1 King 5 News at 11 continues.
The Seattle Supersonics, heroes of the hardwood. They may not save the planet, but man, can they throw it down.
Yes! Oh my goodness!
The Soups rev up their game against the Detroit Pistons. Saturday at 4:30 on your home for the Sonics. Call 616.
You have got to love, baby!
Lucky you. Your local True Value has everything you need to take care of life's little surprises, and you'll get in and out fast. True Value. Help is just around the corner.
Come to True Value for last-minute holiday bargains. Buy a Power Glide 3.6-volt cordless screwdriver for just $9.99. Don't forget to pick up a Rubbermaid Wrap and Craft container for only $7.99. True Value. Help is just around the corner.
It only happens once a year. Toyotathon 03. This year-end tradition features incredible values on Toyota's top trucks. Like Tacoma. Now you can get a new Tacoma with 0% financing or $500 customer cash back. You can also get 0% or $500 back on the full-size V8-powered Tundra. Toyotathon 03. Don't you dare miss it. See your nearest Toyota dealer before it all ends January 6th.
Don't miss the JCPenney's biggest Saturday one-day only sale of the year. Not just our biggest, our best. Save 20 to 60% store-wide. Our biggest doorbuster deals from 7 a.m. till noon. Plus $10 and $15 bonus coupons. Stores open at 7 a.m. for the JCPenney biggest Saturday one-day only sale of the year. Get your holiday shopping done now. All gifts, one place, pure magic. JCPenney.
You're watching King 5 News at 11 with Margaret Larson, Dennis Bounds, Jeff Renner's First Alert Weather, and Paul Sylvie's Sports. Number 1 at 11 with coverage you can count on. King 5 News at 11.
A Coast Guard helicopter battles time and gale force winds to save a sailor injured aboard a tanker in the waters off Northern California. You're looking at 60-mile-an-hour gusts and 20-foot waves as a member of the rescue crew drops to the ship's deck to place that injured sailor in the rescue basket. The crew member later called it the ride of his life. A California senator says she has the smoking gun in the 2001 energy crisis.
Senator Dianne Feinstein released a tape she says proves power companies are guilty of energy piracy.
We're selling at a high price there, and if we pick up generation, I think it'll kill that price.
Senator Feinstein says these phone calls prove energy companies conspired to hike California's electricity prices. The state's other U.S. Senator, Barbara Boxer, says something must be done.
Today, Senator Feinstein, she's unveiled some tapes where you hear the energy companies planning to short California. This is a fact. So in the face of this, planned thievery.
Senator Feinstein is now demanding a full investigation. If you're traveling through the airport for the holidays, security screeners ask that you double-check what's in your carry-on.
Passengers are still trying to bring knives and other illegal items on board, and some things that weren't allowed before are now okay to take with you. King 5's Alyssa Hahn is live at SeaTac tonight to clear up the new set of security no-nos. Alyssa?
Margaret, tonight's security screeners showed us into a back room that holds all the illegal items passengers try to take on board with them in a week's period of time. It includes everything from the dangerous to the downright bizarre.
Got here some brass knuckles, throwing stars.
Almost a year and a half after 9/11, you won't believe what passengers try to take on an airplane.
It's a little pointy edge with blades on the sides.
Push this button here.
These are all items surrendered at SeaTac security checkpoints in 1 week.
They have them in their carry-on, in the side pockets, purses.
Screeners could open their own sewing stores with the number of scissors they confiscate. Anything that could be used as a bat or a bludgeon is also prohibited.
This would be considered a bludgeon. You could hit somebody pretty hard with it.
That includes pool cues, someone's rock collection, even the kitchen sink, or parts of it. And if you're traveling with Christmas gifts, remember no toolkits. The screwdrivers are too sharp, and no toy guns.
This would not be permitted because it's considered a replica and it's so true to size.
If you're caught with one of these items, you have 3 choices. You can go back and check the item if the airline allows it. You can mail the item or leave it with a relative, or you can surrender it to security screeners.
The poor planning will cause them to surrender something that's really important.
Some things that weren't allowed through the checkpoint before are now given the green light, including some, or most I should say, metal nail files and nail clippers. But if you're unsure about the item, they say put it in your checked bag just in case. I'm Melissa Hahn reporting live at SeaTac.
Okay, Alyssa, thank you so much. Jeff maps out our weekend forecast. That's next.
Plus, we have the latest info on which ski areas are opening tomorrow and which ones aren't.
And if you have a story idea to share with us, just send us an email, please. Newstips@king5.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-45-NEWS5.
Later on an all-new Tonight Show, Jennifer Garner in a revealing interview.
I go undercover without any covers.
Plus, John C. Reilly, the music of Prince, and Kevin Smith discovers Roadside America and New Powers. Then on Conan, Martin Scorsese, Tony Bennett, and Katie Lang, and a couple of peeping Toms. Tonight,
There are several places to get the world's best coffee. Now your home is one of them. The Cuisinart Automatic Grind and Brew makes coffee that tastes like it comes from your favorite coffee bar. It starts with the push of a button. The Automatic Grind and Brew grinds whole beans, releasing all the flavor. Then it brews a wonderfully fresh pot of coffee. So why go out for great tasting coffee? Let the Cuisinart Automatic Grind and Brew bring all the enjoyment home. Available at fine stores everywhere.
Tommy, the real American fragrance. Tommy Girl, a declaration of independence.
the signature weekend bag, yours for just $15 with the purchase of any 3.4-ounce Tommy Hilfiger men's or women's cologne spray. Available at the Bon Marché.
We're making our list. Checking it twice.
It's not what we want, it's what you want.
Well, was he there?
I want my own phone.